क्वेश्चन जब रात को हम सोए थे, आई थिंक 2-3 बजे तक तो हम जग ही रहे होंगे, लुकिंग एट ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स, कहाँ आग फट रही हो, फीडबैक स्टार्टेड कमिंग इन, सो वी वर फिक्सिंग दोज थिंग्स। आई थिंक 3 घंटे में फिक्स करके एक तो दैट इज समथिंग दैट वाईसी did that for us for sure. It made us think about our own business in very pointed questions about what our market is, how we're going to make money, how much money can we make, who we are building for, how we're different, all of those questions. Correct.
So you were build tech, सब कुछ build किया होगा, predict करना.
So Gaurav and I both are not with tech background per se to go on and build something like this. So we had Tamanjeet joining us as the first team member, who was looking at tech, was a CTO for Tapney. He's now co-founder with Sorted, Kaagaz, everything. We've also worked together for now almost 8 years. But he joined us as the first team member, building the tech for Tapney. And that's how we became eventually a team.
So isse Tapney se you had a very conscious move. And I remember our conversation when you were making that transition, right, in your office, and you were kind enough to give your office also for something that I was doing at that time. So you have made a very conscious pivot from Tapney to Sorted AI. Kaagaz pe hum log uske baad pahunchte hain. Which sounds, in the hindsight now, it sounds very familiar to India Intern wali story.
Yeah.
Right? बहुत consciously aware तरीके से consciously you took a pivot from a direction that you had taken, so you corrected yourself. What was that transition? What was going in your head when you make that transition from Tapney to Sorted?
So actually within Tapney also we made one pivot and transition in between, that we realized home services business that we were doing, while we believed that there is a big opportunity, this was a pure consumer business. It will take a lot of capital to scale and become something really meaningful from a business perspective, and raising capital had become difficult. So home services was an industry that went from this to this in 3 years. 2014-15 mein it kind of started, peaked very quickly, and then went back because a lot of people realized that this is a very operational business, very people dependent business, and it had so many variable factors ki is business ko chalana is going to be very complex, and that's where kind of that happened. And when that happened 2017-18, when the funding scene for the hyperlocal services business was kind of completely dying, we realized that we were not able to raise funds, and we still believed in the opportunity. So we thought maybe there's a B2B angle that we can go to, where we go on and provide services for commercial properties instead of individual homes. Ticket size becomes larger, those things were better. So we pivoted in between to B2B, where we were doing maintenance services for large complexes, doing interior projects for companies, and we did a lot of that for a couple of years. 1 year probably parallel, having B2C and B2B both. Then pivoted to B2B completely, which was also a big moment in our journey as entrepreneurs, where we had to kind of do our first layoffs, shut down B2C, move to B2B, and learn that bit. So वो कर रहे थे, 1 साल वो किया, but then we kind of realized that, consciously understood that this is a great business, but our skill sets don't align very well here, because that was a business which had good margins, good scale, but tech element was not that significant there.
Correct.
We did a lot of tech on our back-end front to manage these projects, but from a customer perspective, we thought that whatever we were getting feedback from the market was that customer doesn't really care. आप सबसे अच्छा काम सबसे कम प्राइस में कर सकते हो तो कर लो, doesn't matter आपके पास टेक है या नहीं. तो which was also kind of reality check for us कि टेक हमारी दुनिया में बहुत important है, and customer may not really care about it, and eventually they have to pay, and if they don't pay for it, then it's not something that. So we consciously decided कि while it's a great business, and after doing the pivot, it was also profitable. We realized that not something that we would enjoy doing for the rest of our lives, and we need to go to something else that we would like to do. And that's where we kind of started thinking about more ideas. Even thought that एक और startup करना है क्या? Should we just go back and take up jobs? And have always believed that there's nothing wrong going back to a job, and it's not like entrepreneurship. It gets glamorized a lot, but I feel it's absolutely fine to go take up a job and create impact there.
Correct. I think somebody who has done like I have done three. You have done three, right? Yeah. We are right. I think it is glamorized a lot, and it is glamorized for a lot of wrong reasons. I think it's just another job. It's just another job, and you're just being answerable to yourself and your investors. And if you do end up raising money, then you have no idea the amount of pressure and amount of stuff you get yourself into. But yeah, it gets. ठीक है, तो उसके pros and cons हैं दोनों चीजों के, and I think it's about change in DNA. I think वो DNA का फर्क है कि जिसका DNA थोड़ा सा इस तरह खुराफाती होता है, वो
you get more interested in something like that, more inclined to pick up something in that direction. But I mean, I'm pretty sure कि working in a startup could also give that some kick. हाँ, वो कीड़ा को satisfy करने के लिए there are enough opportunities there कि बहुत सारे early stage startups हैं where you can contribute and create impact and have the kind of responsibility that you would like. So we were considering कि ये करना चाहिए या should pick up something. That's when this idea of sorted AI kind of came about. It was solving a personal itch, honestly. Sorted AI basically was a smart document organizer for individuals to manage their documents. You can think of it like a smart cloud storage where you upload documents. It will automatically identify. This was called sorted AI. Before AI kind of became what it is today, we basically had built an engine which could understand text from documents and make it useful for the user. So if you have uploaded an ID card, it will be able to identify कि आधार कार्ड है, इसको आधार कार्ड के फोल्डर में रखो, ये इंश्योरेंस डॉक्यूमेंट है, इसको इंश्योरेंस के फोल्डर में रखो, सेट अप रिमाइंडर्स फॉर यू, इंश्योरेंस एक्सपायर होने वाला है, इसका रिमाइंडर सेट हो जाएगा, those kind of things. So Sorted AI was a personal productivity product that we were building and trying to solve our own problem. I had some personal thing where I was kind of struggling to manage these documents. There's a trigger, and I thought कि ऐसा कुछ होना चाहिए. And I spoke to Gaurav कि I'm thinking about this idea. Do you want to consider doing this? He said कि हाँ करते हैं, चलो करते हैं. And then we asked Taman, because हम दोनों को तो टेक बनाना आता नहीं है, हमारे पास सिर्फ आइडिया है, मार्केटिंग कर सकते हैं. We asked Taman कि करोगे क्या? Till this time Taman was not co-founder at Happening. So for us to ask him was also like कि startup भी करना है कि नहीं करना है. We don't know if he wants to do that or not. So we asked him and he quickly agreed कि हाँ करते हैं चलो. So it was just that we liked working with each other so much that we thought कि मजा आएगा. It was kind of those days again कि मजा आएगा करते हैं. कुछ ना कुछ तो figure out हो ही जाएगा. नहीं होगा तो ठीक है, जॉब वाला ऑप्शन तो we'll always can go back to that. So that's how Sorted started, and we started tinkering with the idea, built a prototype, and this time around we were very conscious about a lot of other things, which we have taken into Kaagaz as well. But this time, like we did not hire anyone. Staffing mein, like it was at one point 60-70 people in the company and 150 plus people, technicians working and all of that. This time we were very conscious कि अभी पहले कुछ बनाते हैं. Let's see if there is an interest in the market for this or not. And then so we decided कि हम तीन ही करने वाले. We're not going to hire anyone. We're not going to take that responsibility. We had not raised any funding, and this was also kind of a thing that a lot of people think कि अरे IIT से वो funding तो मिल ही जाएगी type से. Didn't work for us that way, at least. I don't know how it works for others.
It doesn't work for most people actually.
So as we discussed, it opens doors. You get to speak to a lot of people. That doesn't mean you get the money. Money will come on the merits of what you're trying to do. तो we did not have any funding and we thought कि चलो हम तीनों ही करेंगे. तो हम तीनों कैसे करेंगे? चलो तमन तो टेक सालों से कर रहा है, उसको तो आता है. प्रोडक्ट कौन बनाएगा? मैं कहा चलो मेरे को मजा आता है, मैं बना लूंगा प्रोडक्ट. आई विल डिसाइड व्हाट टू डू. थोड़ा बहुत डिजाइनिंग भी कर लेता हूँ, तो आई विल डू दैट बिट. गौरव सेट में मार्केटिंग कर लूंगा. We did not know. Taman also has been a back-end engineer, but we were making an app. So he said कि मैं बना लूंगा, सीख लूंगा. So he's learned Android. I learned what product management is, and Gaurav learned what digital marketing is, and we did all of that ourselves for good 8-10 months of initial journey of Sorted AI, where just the three of us experimenting, just rolling out the product, getting
basically old school hustling.
Old school hustling, no salaries, and here, I mean, I'm already 35-year-old by that time, 34, 35. Already have a daughter, like all family and everything is there. Taman had just gotten married or was about to get married. Gaurav is younger to us, so he did not have that part of responsibility on him, but we were well deep into our careers and our lives to kind of take that hustle. But
ये कहीं अपने ऊपर तो कमेंट नहीं था कि भैया ये कर लेंगे तो सेट हो जाएगी लाइफ, सॉर्टेड हो गया लाइफ, सॉर्टेड है.
हाँ, पता नहीं क्या चल रहा था, but I mean, I think that's where family comes in and plays a big role. That my wife and for Taman also, both our wives are working. घर संभालने के लिए कोई तो चाहिए. आप तो बिना सैलरी के चल रहे हो. Some money has to come from somewhere. Of course, there's some savings, but that helped. And especially 4 साल लगाने के बाद, for her to again say कि नहीं कर लो, चलो तुम्हारे मन की कर ही लो. That was also, I mean, lot of credit has to go there. Otherwise it becomes difficult. I mean, you're not getting money for a long period. Starts affecting a lot of other things as well. So that kind of helped, and then we started Sorted, and बहुत ही clear था कि we have to keep experimenting till we have some sign of product market fit. While the idea was great, and we, as I said, talk about the idea, we spoke to a lot of people. Everyone said कि बहुत बढ़िया है, मुझे तो इसी की जरूरत है, तुम बना दो. हमने बना दिया, और जब लेके गए तो लोग यूज नहीं कर रहे हैं. That was kind of disappointing, but it also hit us कि we are not solving a pain point for them. It was something that is good to have for them. They'll say, and we also learned that people don't say no to your face. They'll say कि हाँ अच्छा है, बना लो. But if they don't use it, that's where you know कि you've not made something that they actually wanted. Correct. So we kept iterating. Sorted had a lot of different iterations of product, from being a document manager to a personal productivity reminders app and all of that. Did that for good 8 months or so. And of course, in between, COVID had hit. We all went work from home. So वो करते then kind of things moved in the direction for Kaagaz.
जहाँ पे I think Kaagaz was a very interesting epoch moment for you, right? And that epoch moment actually, so basically this is a group of 3 people. That's why I'm trying to picture it. So right? There's a group of 3 people who are well into their career, well into mid-30s, जहाँ पे expected होता है कि अब तो बेटा settle हो गया होगा, right? Sorted हो गया होगा. कि वो जो starting में line थी ना कि ये कर लो set हो जाएगी life, है ना? तो कितनी बार सेट होने वाली थी और नहीं हुई. एंड देन यू 3 डिसाइडेड टू कि हमें पूरा प्योर टेक प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं, जो अभी तक हमने एक बार भी बनाया है. ना प्योर टेक के बेसिस टेक प्रोडक्ट बनाया, लेकिन पैसा कुछ और लेकर आ रहा है. टेक प्रोडक्ट पैसा लेकर नहीं आ रहा है. करेक्ट, राइट. एक इनेबल्ड बिजनेस बनाया इससे पहले. हाँ, इनेबल्ड प्योर टेक बिजनेस, करेक्ट. तो मैंने ये किया, एंड आई रिमेंबर हैविंग दैट कन्वर्सेशन विद यू, एंड इवन आई वाज कंफ्यूज्ड कि ये कैसे पुल ऑफ करोगे, बट देन कि हो जाएगा, कुछ तो हो जाएगा, 3 लोग लगेंगे तो. And from there, COVID भी आ गया, things were all over the place, existential questions आ गए. Correct. And वहाँ से this awesome moment came in जब TikTok बैन हुआ, कुछ और Chinese products बैन हुए. Correct. And I think you were able to put this product out in a weekend.
We actually had launched 2 weeks before this ban.
So you were
तो
anticipating that something like this is going to happen.
not, and we had a thesis building around this because we were already dealing with documents we sorted. तो उसके अराउंड एक thesis build हो रही थी which was getting stronger when COVID had hit and everyone was forced into lockdowns at home. And online education, working from home, business from home suddenly became a norm which people had never done before. And they were not equipped with the right tools for it. So we started seeing conversations like, अरे मुझे ना बच्चे का असाइनमेंट अपलोड करना है, स्कैन कैसे करते हैं, किसी के पास स्कैनर है क्या? And that's when people started saying कि अरे ऐप भी होती है ऐसे. And looking at those conversations we realized कि यार ये तो हमारा सर्कल है जिसमें लोग ऑलरेडी, हाँ नहीं I mean मेरा फ्रेंड सर्कल या जिस व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में मैं हूँ उसमें तो यूजुअली टेक्नोलॉजिकली थोड़े एडवांस लोग हैं. इन लोगों ने तो कंप्यूटर 10 साल से यूज कर रहे होंगे. ये लोग भी अगर इस चीज को लेके स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं तो जो ये पूरा नया ऑडियंस है जो थैंक्स टू जियो एंड स्मार्टफोन्स बिकमिंग चीपर एंड एक्सेसिबल इन इंडिया हैव कम टू एक्चुअली इंटरनेट इन द लास्ट few years. We were also seeing that transition while we were doing TAPME because TAPME in tier 2 was in 2016 to 19 period, which is where Jio happened, which is where Chinese phones came into India, and we saw that transition happening. We realized that ये तो मेरा group है, मेरा peer group which should have known all of this.
Correct.
If they don't know, the whole India which is coming to internet now for sure has no clue about something like this, and whatever is existing is not something that is built for them. They won't even understand how to use it. It will be a challenge for them.
Correct.
So our thesis was kind of building at that time already. यार यहाँ पर opportunity है. हमारा पहला thought was to discard it, saying कि scanners on phone have existed for 10 years. I've used a scanning app since 2011. And I was like, ये तो solved problem है. Why would anyone need a new scanning app? But we realized कि there is a gap. And we thought, let's build something here. And with that mindset, hustle mindset, कि फटाफट कुछ बनाते हैं, let's get feedback instead of spending a lot of time on it. Let's make something quickly. So we did in about a week, launched it, and just shared it in our family, friends, networks. कि यार ये बनाया है कुछ तो देख लो, it will help you with whatever you are trying to do.
I remember that message.
So that's when the first. We launched in June, around 12 जून को शायद हमने ऐप पुश करी थी, प्ले स्टोर पे 15 जून को लाइव हुई थी. And the first 2 weeks, we had about 800 to 1,000 users, mostly friends, family, who were trying to play with the product and use it. It's a very, I mean, एक हफ्ते में बनाकर भेजा है. It was a very basic product, which would do the basic job. Also probably not work on a lot of Android phones. Android में वो challenge भी है. So it was an experiment in that sense. Is there an interest for it? And the early feedback was good, but we were not sure कि अभी इसको scale कैसे करना है, क्या करना है. We were just thinking. अभी तो ये 2 हफ्ते
करना भी है कि नहीं है, कितना इन्वेस्टमेंट करनी है.
2 ही हफ्ते हुए थे and तब तक honestly we had raised a small check from Axelor as part of their accelerator program. वो पैसे भी खत्म हो रहे थे. तो it was like कि देखते हैं where it goes and then we'll see what to do. Till this time it was just the 3 of us still working, so we did not have any major expenses to take care of. And then 2 weeks later I got a call in the night. I remember 29 June रात को 9 बजे के आसपास खाना खा के ऐसे चिल्ला रहे थे. कोविड था, लॉकडाउन चल रहा था, कहीं जाने के लिए था नहीं. And I got a call from someone in my family who said कि अरे चाइनीज एप्स बैन हो गई हैं और उसमें एक स्कैनिंग ऐप भी बैन हो गई है, तो देख लो, मतलब इफ यू वांट टू डू समथिंग क्विकली. हाँ, and similar kind of calls or similar kind of conversations happening at Gaurav's home and Taman's home. I mean, this is COVID, so we were all at our hometowns, and this same conversation happened, and then we quickly got on a call discussing कि क्या करना है. And it was like कि ये this is the moment. अभी कुछ करा तो शायद कुछ हो जाएगा, नहीं तो I mean we'll lose this opportunity. We were also discussing कि यार product तैयार नहीं है. There's so much more to do in the product. But that's when we saw कि opportunity यही है, product तैयार नहीं है, product तैयार हो जाएगा. We know कि if we would do it, 2-3 दिन और लगाएंगे घुस के तो
हो जाएगा.
जो improvements करने वो हो जाएंगे.
थोड़ा हो जाएगा. हाँ.
बट ये अपॉर्चुनिटी वापस 3 दिन बाद नहीं है, ये अपॉर्चुनिटी आज ही है. तो वी क्विकली क्रिएटेड अ मैसेज saying कि भाई Chinese apps ban हो गई हैं, these apps are not going to be available, here's a replacement for what you're trying to do with your scanning requirements. Just post it into all our networks, WhatsApp, social media, everything. And the kind of support that we got from everyone, उस वक्त वो that nationalistic flavor was also very strong. Everyone wanted कि यार we want to support Indian products. We got so much love and support that people shared, and we started seeing the downloads number go up. And it's like कि ये तो कुछ तो हो रहा है यहाँ पे. And we just kept pushing into all groups. There were people kind enough to put it on Twitter, on LinkedIn as their own post कि ये है, go on and download that, which gave us a huge push. And जब रात को हम सोए थे, I think 2-3 बजे तक तो हम जग ही रहे होंगे, looking at all of these things. कहाँ फट रही हो, feedback started coming in, so we were fixing those things. I think 3 घंटे में fix करके एक update भेज दिया था तमन ने कि ये issues fix करने हैं, which unfortunately got live only 2 days later, thanks to the whole process of Play Store update. But रात को सोए थे तब ये था कि यार कल तक अगर 50,000 डाउनलोड हो गए तो मचा देंगे, मतलब मच जाएगा अगर 50,000 हो गए तो. And we get up in the morning, it's already touching 50,000. Like कि oh ये तो कुछ अलग लेवल पे जा रहा है,
कुछ तो अलग हो गया है.
हाँ. And I remember 24 hours from the ban announcement, next day we had 100,000 plus downloads in a day, and the project had gone, like the product had gone to a different trajectory.
Correct.
And that's where, I mean, then things changed. We got a feedback at a different scale. Now everyone's writing us to an email कि ये भी चाहिए, this is where it is breaking, and we are supporting. And you know, it was that kind of moment कि यार हम support कर रहे हैं. And it was also a big PMF moment for us. कि product फटा हुआ है, लेकिन customer को चाहिए, demand इतनी है कि they are coming and saying कि ठीक करो, हम को use कर रहे हैं. That was a big PMF moment for us, which we had said कि we're going to wait till we get to that kind of moment before deciding कि हम इस पे और spend कैसे करने वाले हैं.
This is 2020, right? 2020.
June 2020. Yes.
मतलब it took only 13 years for you for an overnight success. And only 13 years. 13 years, one MBA.
Yeah, one MBA, couple of startups in between.
So please go on. This is very fascinating. So 100,000 downloads within what?
Within 24 hours.
24 hours.
Yeah, wow. 100,000 downloads, 24 hours. And in the next 2 weeks, we had hit 1 million. By I think 15th of July, we had hit 1 million downloads. And it was just going crazy.
3 of us. And it was only 3 of you.
Just the 3 of us. We had an intern who was working with us before. उसको हमने actually ये सब होने के बाद भी rolled out an offer to her to join. She still works with us, but she had been interning, and we rolled out an offer to her कि यार अभी Android पे एक जना और चाहिए to do something, and that was our first team member. But still hands on, all 3 of us just doing things, and kept on. And then of course a lot of investor interest started coming in with that kind of hyper scale. That's when we closed our first funding round. In fact, एक छोटा round तो पहले हो गया था. It was a quick angel round, happened in like 4 days of Kaagaz becoming what it became. And then 2-3 weeks later, we had a larger term sheet from Pravega Ventures, who were our first institutional investor in that sense, who invested. So all of that happened kind of in that period, in the next 2 to 3 weeks kind of period. And we continued to build, still the 3 of us, with 1 person joining the team.
So even today you have 4 people?
No, we are now 11 altogether. But our first Android person who leads Android right now joined us in November. So this all was happening in June, July. Till November, it was just the 3 of us and the intern who had moved into the team doing it. And by that time, we were already scaled to about 2-3 million installs already, and we were just the 3 of us kind of building it at that point. Then we got our first tech like Android lead joining in November.
पहली बात कि बहुत सारी इन्वेस्टमेंट की जरूरत नहीं होती है. दूसरी बात है कि जरूरत आ भी जाए तो हायर नहीं करना होता है.
Yeah, I mean We had our first raise जो कि almost $600,000 का raise हो चुका था,
हाँ,
but that did not uh, mean that we're going to hire immediately. Maybe we were carrying that from our previous startup where we did
exactly.
some of those mistakes. कि
Correct.
फटाफट hire कर लो and
Correct.
your solution to every problem is just getting more people and more money,
Correct.
which
Throw
we
more
realize
bodies
is
to the
not the
problem.
case.
Throw more bodies to the problem, and somehow
Yeah.
the problem
Get
will
solved.
vanish, which is not
So
true.
we were very conscious about it. We're still very conscious about it. So that's why we've been building it very lean. तो पहले 3-4 महीने हम ही लोग कर रहे थे, and then we realized कि हमारी उससे बाहर निकल गया. We need someone who, and remember, someone who is building tech for an Android app is actually building his Android app for the first time. He's been a back-end engineer through and through. I have never built a tech product before this. Gaurav never marketed a tech product, digital marketing for the first time he was doing. So we were all also learning. But the amazing part of finding PMF is you can actually, you get the opportunity to learn it on the go with the kind of feedback that you get from the market. You can actually pick up things from there. So yeah, that was the first few months.
Incredible. I think यहाँ पे this, like, it's important to just take a pause and connect back with all the stories that we actually went through, right? Coming over from the smaller town, so you're connected to the smaller town. You had that small town mentality, which to a lot of people they look at it as a taboo and as a bad thing, but in reality, I think it's a superpower because it just keeps you humbled.
Yeah,
it's okay to to be within your means. It's okay, there's nothing wrong with it, right? Combining with your tech fest experience, कि वहाँ पे hustle मार के, क्योंकि वो first year में तो आप fresh ही होते हो, आप चाहो ना चाहो आपको तो करना पड़ता है, right? But then you keep on doing it for 3 years, 4 years to get that coveted position of being a manager in tech fest like an event. It's a big thing. It's a huge thing. Campus में बहुत बड़ी बात होती है और लोग अभी भी बात करते हैं. And plus you end up building a very strong, core team around you for the rest of life. Correct, right? वो पूरी जर्नी, उसके बाद jumping in कि मैं चलो entrepreneurship करूँगा, वहाँ से self correct करके pivot मारना. So you have made a lot of pivots in your life.
Yeah.
A lot of pivots, right? And एक pivots होते हैं जो कि जनता आपको करवा देती है, right? कि भाग जाए यहाँ से, तेरे से नहीं होगा. आप you do it forcefully, बस कुछ option ही नहीं है, right? And दूसरा तरह का pivot होता है बहुत conscious, थोड़ा सा calculated, थोड़ा सा measured, and which is what is I think a common theme and thread in your entire thing, to be able to either anticipate what can potentially happen and how to prepare for it or how to make the most of it, which is I think what you did with Kaagaz. भाई यही मौका है, वो 70 मिनट वाला टॉक होगा, 70 दिन है हमारे पास. I'm 100% sure कि उस दिन जब आपके पास होगा तो 500-600 डाउनलोड्स के बाद you were not, like wildest of dreams, you were not thinking कि 24 घंटे के अंदर में हमारे पास 100x जंप.
तो बता रहा हूँ ना, जब चालू हो गया था तब भी ये लग रहा था कि कल तक अगर 50,000 हो गया तो बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट हो जाएगा. 50,000 भी
पागलपन हो जाएगा ना, कुछ पागलपन हो जाएगा. 10,000 हिट हो जाएगा, 20,000 हिट हो जाएगा, बड़ी बात हो जाएगी. करेक्ट. Totally imagine. So here's what I would like to take this conversation to the career side of things, right? So coming from IIT Bombay, yes, there is a certain amount of elite pedigree that you have when you went to ISB, another elite pedigree. Yet you went through your own grind and your own journey, right? Which had its own ups and downs, including this entire period where you're not making any money, you were, and so on, which is very hard, extremely hard, right? Not just on yourself, but because आप compare तो करते हो ना, मेरे साथ वाले ग्रीस में घूम रहे हैं और मैं यहाँ पे फाइट मार रहा हूँ, right? So what do you think somebody who is just graduating or just graduated, like in the last, somebody from 0 to 2 years of experience right now, what kind of especially in the current era, which is very similar to the era of 2008. Like there are a lot of these chota episodes from your previous life that we discussed. One, how should they navigate their career from here? जहाँ पे एक तरफ एआई के थ्रेड है, 4 साल मेहनत करके बाहर निकले, पता चला कि जितना कोड आता है अभी वो तो एआई जनरेट कर सकता है, तो करेगा, जाए तो जाए कहाँ? पहला क्वेश्चन ये, ऊपर से रिसेशन, जॉब्स उतनी है नहीं मार्केट में, तो क्या करें? What do you think? What would you suggest such people?
Yeah, देखो, whenever there's a big technological shift like what's happening right now with AI, and it has happened, I mean, it keeps happening every few years or few decades, there's always that question कि बहुत सारे jobs जाने वाले हैं. At the same time, बहुत सारे jobs नए create होने. And if you look at it, I mean, if you go back in history, जब इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन हुआ था तब भी यही था कि बहुत सारे मशीन से काम होगा तो बहुत सारे लोगों की जॉब जाने वाली है, गई भी थी. बट इफ यू लुक बैक दैट पीरियड एंड नाउ, एवरीवन इज बेटर ऑफ टुडे, एंड देयर विल बी मोर अपॉर्चुनिटीज दैट विल कम. बट द important thing to look at is it will require upskilling for everyone or reskilling for everyone. That now that same job is not available, but there's a new job that will get available, which someone will have to do, and उसके लिए जो तैयार हो जाएगा उसको नया कुछ मिल जाएगा. So you have to keep evolving with how things change. तो अगर machines आ गई हैं तो जो labor काम कर रही थी उसके लिए वो काम नहीं है, पर वो मशीन ऑपरेट करने वाला भी कोई चाहिए होगा, वो मशीन जहाँ बनेगी उस फैक्ट्री में भी कोई चाहिए होगा. तो ऑल ऑफ दैट विल चेंज. सिमिलरली विद व्हाट्स हैपनिंग टुडे, एंड ऑनेस्टली टू बी फेयर, व्हेन दिस इज हैपनिंग, लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स यू कांट थिंक ऑफ व्हाट्स गोइंग टू कम नेक्स्ट, एंड मैं किसके लिए तैयारी करूं, मुझे तो जो आज आता है वो तो खत्म हो रहा है, तो अब क्या करेंगे? व्हिच इज वेयर यू हैव टू कीप your eyes and ears open and keep looking at what's going to change. And if you really think this technological shift is going to affect your job, figure out what are the areas where AI still can't replace you, and can you do something on that front. So code AI लिख सकता है, but the kind of complexity that kind of code will be required in an existing product, AI may not have the whole context. It can give you a piece of code, it may not give you a product. So can you use it and become better in your job, instead of thinking कि अब तो AI से कोड लिख लेंगे तो सब हो ही जाएगा. And again, when things like these happen, अभी जो लोग AI के बारे में बात करें, I'll still say these are early adopters. It's not everyone. Everyone started talking about it. Interestingly, this technology has gone on to household conversations much faster. But majority of people are just talking about it. Early adopters हैं जो अभी इसमें कुछ कर रहे हैं, and if you get in, and these people are in general excited about things. I mean, people like us who want to explore that, kind of stay at that edge of things happening. You are always excited about the opportunity, the potential of it. So we talk about only the potential. कि अरे ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा.
Correct.
But we know when you're doing it, there's still things that need, us involved. It's not कि अभी AI को एक लाइन लिख दिया तो कोड निकल जाएगा, मैं एक इंजीनियर हटा दूंगा उसके लिए. Correct. So don't get kind of bogged down with that kind of excitement, because ये तो early adopters हैं, इनका तो काम ये, they get excited about these things and they're going to talk about it कि भाई सब बदलने वाला है. Correct.
Exactly. मतलब YouTube पे बहुत सारे in general बहुत सारे influencers हैं, बोलते हैं कि तुम्हारी तो जॉब गई, इनकी जॉब जाने वाली, ये होने वाला है.
But what I would suggest is कि जो influencer ने बताया ना tool, go and use that tool. And you start seeing the limitations of that tool and how you can come in and actually create more value using that tool. So there will be those opportunities that will be there, where you just need to be not get scared with what's happening. Kya ab to job gayi, and think ki there is that existential kind of crisis coming in, but I need to look into it instead of getting scared with what this is. I need to get involved and see कि क्या हो क्या रहा है. Let me see where I can do something about this.
Correct.
And that's when you'll see opportunities.
Basically, remove the hype cover, the general hype, because that is very clickbaity also, right? कि अरे ये तो हो गया, अब तो एक टेक्स्ट के लाइन से वीडियो बन जाएगा, मूवी बन जाएगी, वो हो जाएगा, लेकिन that is very few people will be able to go through with that. वो उतना कर पाएंगे. right? And most cases वो हो नहीं पाएगा. I've been like just like you know, I've been playing with AI since before OpenAI was even announced, right?
Right.
तब से खेल रहा था मैं. तो ये दिख रहा था कि होगा, लेकिन एक certain percentage of people will be deeply impacted by it. But
Right.
majority of the people are going to use it just like you start using mobile phones to be more productive with your life. With your regular job, you became more productive, more efficient. अभी अगर मुझे अगर content marketing ही करनी है, unless and until you really understand the strategy of content marketing, आपको नहीं पता कि पूछना क्या है.
Yeah.
To a good extent.
And I mean, जैसे ultimately this happens with every kind of technology. जैसे हम मोबाइल फोन की बात करेंगे, मोबाइल फोन आएगा तो web is not going to exist. Everything will move to phone.
Correct.
And there were, I remember famously, there were some companies who said we are going mobile only. Website बंद कर दी थी, and then went back to it.
Correct.
So it's not that कि web developers की नौकरी चली गई, खत्म हो गया market. Web developers are still there and they still have value to provide, and they'll continue to do. While mobile will also is now a new frontier where people are able to get a lot of jobs and contribute. And new skill sets have come in, which a lot of people learned, and they're moved ahead in their careers, and that will also happen with this AI use करने के लिए भी तो कोई चाहिए ना जिसको आता है कैसे यूज करना है,
सही तरह के क्वेश्चन पूछना, सही तरह की चीजें पूछना. Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I would say don't get scared with this, don't get affected by the hype. Just go on and try it out. These are amazing tools. I mean, you and I are playing with these. And these are amazing tools.
And I think, correct. And I think one thing that even I observed when I was trying out all of these apps, कि जो जिनके बारे में वो hype कर रहे हैं, a lot of these things were just simple projects. किसी का weekend project था वो, जिसमें उसने कुछ experiment करके डाल दिया, कुछ दिख गया, and because उनको तो अपनी रोटी चलानी है, तो वो तो कुछ ना कुछ hype up कर रहे हैं ना, कहते देखो इसमें ऐसा हो गया, इसमें वैसा हो गया. बहुत कम projects or products are consumer ready.
Correct.
That they will exist after a week or after a month or after 2 months, and that's a sense that you need to develop for yourself, I think.
Correct.
ना सब exist नहीं करेगा. And जब चीजें turbulent होती हैं तो बहुत सारे वो जैसे पानी में होता है ना, turbulent होते हैं, बहुत सारी नीचे की चीजें निकल के आती हैं, then eventually it settles down and the right things are visible. Which brings me to the next question. तो कागज आपने बना दिया, आपने स्कैनर बना दिया जो ओवरनाइट सक्सेसफुल हो गया, मतलब downloads हो गए ढेर सारे, and it's a very different high to see your product suddenly being in the hands of million users using it on a regular basis. And I'm sure कि your method of tracking it, mapping it, using it, etc. would have also changed, and your roadmaps would have changed, and right suddenly वहाँ से another interesting event happened, which was you got into YC. YC, for those who don't know, is like getting into Stanford or Harvard for startups. Right? 20-25 हजार लोग अप्लाई करते हैं twice a year to get into YC, and they select about 200 of them. So 1% or less का, तो मतलब वो IIT वाला ही हाल है कि 1% or less की ही लगती है, मतलब they get in. So you got into OIC, the most coveted accelerator in the world. How was that journey, and how did that had a role to play in your current branding or current positioning? Beautiful positioning, very clear positioning. 4 words हैं, but इतना सुंदर है, because it's so clear कि mobile office to Bharat solopreneurs. Like we can have a separate session only for this positioning itself. कि एक positioning कैसे पहुंची, because it's बहुत unique positioning है. Right. What was the journey, and how did that change your trajectory? So yeah, the question was YC and shift. How did you get in, and journey उसके बाद?
So actually YC was also what many people don't know is we actually applied 4 times to YC, and we got in 4th time. So, and different ideas, all 3 times were practically different ideas. We started with Sorted AI, and Sorted AI के different versions. Kaagaz we applied for the first time as Kaagaz, but उससे पहले हम 3 ideas पे apply कर चुके थे, and we didn't get through. So again, something that feels like अरे तुम्हारा तो हो गया होगा type से. We also had those moments where we felt कि अरे नहीं हुआ. But we got in the 4th attempt, which was first attempt with Kaagaz as an idea. So YC was a very different experience and great experience for us in terms of positioning also.
Snehanshu, sorry. We will just start this.
Sure.
Okay. So, cut to
getting into YC.
So you got into YC, and you're talking about the 4 attempts of YC.
Yeah.
So you can continue.
Sure. So the best part about YC, and I actually give this advice to startup entrepreneurs who like want to, in very early stages, come to me to talk about what they're building. In general, an advice: go on and fill the YC application. Apply nahi karna hai, mat karo, but just go on and fill that application, because it's been designed in a way over years of their experience. They're so pointed questions. They force you to think in a certain way. They force you to. So this, for example, we are talking about the positioning, mobile office for Bharat solopreneurs. If you think of this positioning, it actually came about when we were. It crystallized when we were applying for YC. It was something that we had already thought of and kind of started positioning us in that sense. But YC में पहला question होता है, describe your company in 50 characters, not 50 words, 50 characters. That's about, and वो hard limit है, 50 के 51 नहीं हो सकता. And that forces you to think of your own business in a very, very different way. कि इतने से में मुझे explain करना है. Whoever is listening should be able to get the key message out of it. So that is something that YC did that for us for sure. It made us think about our own business in very pointed questions about what our market is, how we're going to make money, how much money can we make, who we are building for, how we're different, all of those questions, which helped us, even before getting into YC, helped us think better about our business. Of course, once we went to YC, it puts you in a different positioning in terms of people who are looking at you also changes. It's like when you get into IIT, suddenly there's a tag attached and people start looking at you differently while you're the same person still. It happened with Kaagaz as well, that people started looking at us in a different light. YC teaches also a lot of things. It's a short program, 3 months, but they've seen so many companies over the years, and companies who have become big, like Airbnb and Dropbox kind of companies, that the kind of insights that they have are from so many of these experiences, and that is helpful for any startup at any stage, and got us a good. We learned a lot. We started focusing a lot on monetization during YC and post YC. We were pushed into thinking in that direction, that you already have a good user base, but are they going to pay or not is the next question that you need to answer. Because eventually business तो वहीं बनेगा. अभी product बना लिया है, distribution एक level पे आ गया है, but धंधा तो तब बनेगा जब कोई पैसे देगा. And you need to start thinking about that now. So we kind of were forced into thinking in that direction, which was a important moment for us to realign what we want to do and think about that bit, which is what we're focusing on today in terms of making revenue, getting it to a scale where we have understood it to that level that we can now go back on growth and scale this revenue. So that was something that happened during YC. Right. And again, like I said, IIT, ISB, YC, it's always for me, it's always been a reality check कि आप तो अपनी लाइफ में मचा रहे हो. आपने तो कागज में इतने सारे यूजर्स ले आए, लेकिन बहुत सारे लोग हैं जिनके पास इतने यूजर्स भी हैं और इतना सारा रेवेन्यू भी है. So there's so much more to do still, and it's a good check on you कि अभी don't get complacent. बहुत कुछ करना बाकी है.
आप इतना स्टड समझ रहे हो अपने आप को. आपसे ज्यादा स्टड लोग बैठे हैं जिनको अभी भी घबराहट है कि भाई मैं कुछ नहीं है.
So that's a good reality check, and I don't know if it was it by design for me in my life over the last few years, or
pattern.
But it's a pattern that I end up forcing myself into something where I get that reality check. to keep me grounded and make me do things better next time.
So for somebody, I think that's a wonderful segue into the same conversation that we were just having. Ki you cannot be complacent. It's not just about somebody who just graduated and is now figuring out a new world, right? तुम्हारे सामने तो फिर भी जिंदगी भी शुरू करने का मौका है, right? Think about people who were 10 years into, 15 years into certain areas which are deeply impacted by AI. Right, especially content generation, for example.
Yeah.
Right, image generation, for example, graphic image generation, for example.
Right.
And your entire livelihood is at risk at the moment. Right. And it's a people I know personally, a lot of people who got laid off because the work that they were doing could be done not 100% but could be done 80%.
Right.
So बाकी 20% के लिए अब मैं तुम्हें 20% सैलरी दे नहीं सकता हूँ ना, तो मैं 100% सैलरी नहीं दूंगा, right? So with this, I think I believe that wherever you go, whichever job you do, whichever job you take today, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line from now, I think there will be always a new technology, a new senior, a new colleague who is going to threaten your existence. कुछ भी कर लो, कैसा भी कर लो, कुछ ना कुछ होगा. कुछ भी नहीं हुआ तो मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन ऐसी हो जाएंगी. कोविड किसने सोचा था? Right? Overnight businesses wiped out. Right? So being humble, being agile, being non-complacent, I think वो आपको imbibe करना पड़ेगा right from the beginning. And I believe people who were born into such environments like us, for example, 2008 वाले environment, 2008 में graduate हुआ था एक साल बाद for you, and मैंने भी एक साल drop किया था by the way. So जो उस टाइम पे graduate होके निकले थे उनको वो झेल लिया तो ये तो और झेल लिया. So in a way I think it's good. ये हुआ, of course it is stressful, but in a way this will prepare you in a way that nothing else could have prepared you.
हाँ, मतलब I've started believing this early itself कि maybe may sound a little bit pessimistic also sometimes, but don't just assume that जो आज है वो कल भी होगा. You have to be ready that things are so dynamic. There are only certain things that you can control. Make sure that you control them as much as you can. बाकी तो बहुत सारे factors आते जाते रहेंगे and it will impact you. Sometimes it will impact you positively, sometimes negatively. I mean, COVID was something that was very bad for the world. Overall, it was very bad, but it did help certain sectors like ours or maybe education sector where, being online kind of created these opportunities. Forced to be online.
Digital adoption, correct. And I think digital adoption this level pe accelerate hua. Within 1 year, 2 years, I think the world moved 5 years in 2 years.
Correct. And if you look at it that way, there was an external factor. I could not control that, but and it affected negatively to a lot of people. Majority got probably negatively affected. There was some positive. Some people got positive out of it, at least in certain aspects of their lives, which was also because some people decided that there is something new getting created. Can I do something about it? And that is to go with aaj hai, enjoy it as it is there. Just don't assume everything is going to be same. It's just nothing going to change, because that's for sure going to happen. Something or the other is going to change. And you have to just be agile and ready for whatever is coming.
So I have like 3 or 4 rapid fire questions now.
Sure.
Okay. 1, are you hiring?
We are, yes. Right now we're hiring for Android and iOS.
So if somebody has to approach you, and what is the best way to approach you?
So, I mean, all of us are there on all social media platforms. If you're specifically looking for, applying to Kaagaz, work at kaagaz.app. That's the email ID. Just drop an email with that of what you are looking to offer there, and you can get
how should a professional, how should a young grad get your eye? Apply तो बहुत लोग करते हैं. LinkedIn पे job डाल के देखो इतने लोग. One. So next is, how does somebody get your focus attention?
Right. So one is, and it's not too complex. to get my attention or to get anyone's attention, I would assume make sure that some basic things are in place. We get a lot of people who reach out to us who do not even spell Kaagaz correctly when they're applying for the job, and they just write the spelling that they thought it would be. That's an immediate no. I mean, that shows that you're just bulk applying. You just saw this and applied. So don't do those kind of mistakes. That immediately turns off someone. I'm not going to even consider replying to this person. Make sure that you are able to communicate the value prop that you offer and what you're looking for in a very, very short email or LinkedIn message or whatever you're looking to do. I'm not very active on LinkedIn. My co-founder Gaurav is very, very active. So you can always reach out there if you want, or the email ID is there. So some of these basic things, if you can keep in mind.
What about
majority तो उसी में निकल जाते हैं.
What about portfolio? Actually, basic hygiene अगर maintain कर लो तो उसमें.
हाँ, उसमें you are above a lot of people.
है ना? What do you think about portfolio? बनाना चाहिए, नहीं बनाना चाहिए? क्या उससे extra थोड़ा भाव मिल जाएगा कागज में?
So we are a small team and consciously staying small. We like people who have that kind of hustle in there, that they are willing to take up something new, run with it from early days itself, are willing to quickly look at new things and see कि क्या कर सकते हैं. So we want to see that kind of streak in people, side projects, doing something on your own other than your job. Those are things that we definitely get attracted to. कि यहाँ पर कुछ अलग करने का वो है, and it's not just कि हाँ सोच रहे हैं. There's someone who's going to take up an opportunity and do something about it. We like those kind of things. So portfolio of some kind of things is always great to have.
So कुछ करने का जज्बा हो and कुछ किया हो, चाहे वो किसी भी फील्ड में किया हो.
हाँ, आपने कुछ भी अलग करा है ना, मतलब we see that as a big positive, that this person is someone who will take responsibility, go out of the way and add some more value to the company. If you have we have people in the team who have their own YouTube channels. I mean, he's an Android developer with us, but has a YouTube channel. We have a person who works with us in Android team as a senior Android engineer, does not have a computer science degree. So we are open to all of that as far as we see that streak in people.
Do you think that is a common trend now?
For us?
No, generally, like the other founders as well.
I would see, in general, all founders have certain traits common. We like people who are going to, raise their hand and say, मैं करता हूँ, कोई नहीं है तो मैं कर रहा हूँ type से. And we've all done that in our careers, where we were supposed to do one job, but we also contributed in other ways to the company.
Correct.
So we liked that, and I think that will be the case with most founders. Those are the kind of people that will get attention for sure.
Awesome. Next, how many downloads do you have today?
I don't have the exact number, but 20 million plus is what it is today. Yeah. 20
million. So for those who do not understand this, 20 million users के लिए typically 50 लोगों की टीम होती है, 80 लोगों की टीम होती है, 100 लोगों की टीम भी देखती है. और अगर मैं नाम नहीं लूंगा, लेकिन ऐसी कुछ कंपनीज हैं जिन्होंने 20 मिलियन के लिए तो कम से कम कुछ 300-500 लोग टीम खड़ी करके बहुत पैसा लगाया, बहुत पैसा खर्चा किया था. Infinite, this is not the place for me to talk about that. So 20 million users को 11 लोग संभाल रहे हैं. That's a mind-blowing stat. People do not know about. I think you should write it down. Power for Bharat Solopreneurs, 20 million plus and counting something. That basically translates into कितना हो गया? करीब 2 million per person. 2 million, एक बंदा 2 million यूजर को संभाल रहा है. That's a huge stat. That's a huge stat. ये बे एरिया की कंपनी से भी नहीं होता है. For those who do not know how big this number is, right? लोग 2-2 मिलियन, 3-3 मिलियन में छाती चौड़ा करके घूमते हैं. और ये देखो भाई साहब, ये स्टार्ट में स्टार्टिंग में पूछना चाहिए था. But it's a brilliant. We're so proud and so happy that this entire thing has transitioned into 20 million users using an app. Beautiful. The last question. What's the trajectory now? सब कुछ हो गया, AI आ गया, LLM आ गया, सब कुछ आ गया. What are the 2-3 big things that are bothering you? What are the next big steps that you're taking the next 3-6 months?
So generative AI is something that we are definitely playing with and trying to see, as we discussed in the conversation earlier, कि वो आ गया है but वो market ready कैसे बनेगा, and especially when we are building for Bharat. I mean, prompt engineering in itself is so complex for anyone like us also to be able to write a proper prompt and get an output that we want. For our user who's not there yet with respect to understanding these things as much, I mean for them even their language is not English. How do we take this technology to this user is something that we are right now definitely playing with for sure, with ideas on what we could do here, and how do we take this big shift of technology to Bharat, who can benefit a lot from it, but may not be equipped right now with using a chat GPT, and they may need some kind of different product offering for them to be able to do that. So that's one big area. Monetizing is a big focus since last year. To make money from software, selling subscriptions is what we do, and making money from Bharat is again like that question that we had early on in Daphne's journey. Tier 2 will not pay. Today everyone says Bharat will not pay. We've been able to get about 30,000 of them to pay, and looking to get to much higher scale from here. As we understand, what we've figured is Bharat will pay as far as we can communicate the value to them. Now we need to figure out what's value for them, and get it at the right price point for them, and they will pay. And we have seen a lot of other startups who are focusing on the Bharat user, especially on the content space, have done amazing with respect to subscriptions. Correct. And we get inspired from them कि यार ये लोग crack कर रहे हैं. So it's not that Bharat will not pay. Bharat pay किसके लिए करेगा वो आप और मैं जिसके लिए pay करेंगे उससे different हो सकता है. But pay वो करेंगे as far as you can give them value, and you need to figure out where that value is. So that's big theme for us in terms of how we are thinking about what next, and we'll continue to do that. Of course, Kaagaz as product has also evolved from a scanning app to now a complete document suite around PDFs, PDF reader, PDF editing, digital signatures, document storage on cloud. I mean, interestingly, about 5 million plus users use Kaagaz for cloud storage of their documents. And this user does not use Google Drive. They have gone onto cloud for the first time using Kaagaz. Wow. So that's what we've built on that front. We've got a design product that's there for these small businesses to also promote themselves digitally. So they want to create also a Facebook post or a WhatsApp story, but do not have the right means and resources to do that. A lot of times not enough time. This is a solopreneur जिसको अपना धंधा भी संभालना है साथ में ये सब चीजें भी करनी है. They don't have the time and bandwidth to do this also. So we've built another product which helps them, with promoting their business. Sale आ रही है तो sale के लिए भी poster चाहिए, general promotions के लिए भी चाहिए, and even a festival greeting also which is personalized with their name and everything. So it's got another product in that direction. So we're just focusing on how does Bharat get digital? What all do they need, the Bharat businesses? First was solving their document problem, now solving their marketing growth problem in some sense, and just growing with our user. As our user's journey digitally is evolving, their needs are changing. We are taking that direction.
Beautiful. So basically, three themes, right? One is there's a massive technology shift, and how do you see that will play out for your users? That's one. Second is figuring out how to monetize from the user base, which you have been able to successfully monetize. And I think Steve Jobs की बात सही है. Like when you look back, suddenly everything in life happened to prepare you for what is happening. है ना? Option ही नहीं है. And अगर आप पहुंचे नहीं हो, मतलब आप actually नहीं पहुंच जाओगे अगर लगे रहोगे तो. Right. Beautiful, like how your life has played out. And I'm glad that I was an audience for it throughout my life. And the third story is monetization. And third story is listening to the users and looking at their digital journey and then figuring out where you can jump in.
Yeah.
So if I have to summarize this entire journey of your 20 years, and so glad that we had this detailed conversation mapping every little nook and cranny of your life.
Yeah.
Basically, is atoms to bits.
Yeah.
That's your journey.
Yes.
Right? Atoms to bits, and उसमें बीच में आपने खेती बाड़ी भी कर ली, आपने ऑर्गेनिक मैटर भी बना लिया, आपने ये भी कर लिया, वो भी कर लिया, करते 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 है ना, ऑर्गेनिक मैटर भी हो गया, एंड आपका टीयर 2 टीयर 3 मार्केट के साथ में जो कनेक्शन होता है वो भी हो गया. ये सब करके फाइनली गॉट टू bits, and you're doing wonderfully well. I'm so glad that we had this conversation, and thank you so much for being so candid about every little thought that you had in your mind, being so clear and so open. I hope and I believe that everybody who's going to listen to this, they will get either a spirit to do more, to be humble and still do more, and maybe some people will get into कि मैं भी करूँगा, मैं भी startup करूँगा. Whatever the outcome is, I think it's going to be wonderful. Thank you so much, Snehanshu. Any last word for the people who are going to listen to this?
Thank you so much for you to ask the kind of questions that you did, and for us to have this long conversation. I think we had scheduled for a much smaller time period, but it was great talking to friends always, and you get to speak a lot of things. I think हमने भी कभी इतनी बार पहले इन सब चीजों के बारे में नहीं किए हुए इतनी डिटेल में. I think no like real parting thoughts, just that keep evolving in whatever you're doing, and there are more and more opportunities available. Just keep evolving as a person to be able to what people say you are in the right place at the right time. It's not just by sitting and waiting for it. It's just by keep doing things and keep trying. You'll end up being in the right place at the right time a lot of times.
Wow. I think I can't top that up. Thank you so much, Snehanshu. Thank you so much for the conversation. Take care.
Thanks, Talvinder. Thank you. Bye.